Hi everyone, I'm Jackie, aka Atom Heart Mother, aka Atomic Heart X Stitch, and welcome to episode 1 of my Flosstube channel. I never really get a chance to formally introduce myself on my TikTok and Instagram channel, so I figured I would take a chance to do that now. I live in Southern California in Ventura County. I have a husband. We've been married for coming up on 9 years, maybe 8. I'm honestly not all that sure. 2013. 8 years. I've got 2 kids, a 13-year-old and a 6, almost 7-year-old. An English bulldog, a big old cat. We've also got a snake right now. It's an albino king snake, and tadpoles. Like many people during the pandemic and kind of the first big shutdown, I downloaded TikTok out of complete boredom, started posting cross-stitch videos to my TikTok channel, and things have just kind of escalated from there. It's been a super fun journey. I continually get asked about starting a Flosstube channel. I've been really hesitant because I'm not really sure how to do it or what I'm doing for that matter. But here we are. I really haven't been cross-stitching for all that long. Technically, I guess I started around 15 to 20 years ago. I first picked it up in high school, did one small kit, set it down and never really picked it back up until a few years ago. I just all of a sudden had this like hankering to get back into it. I picked up a really big kit thinking that I would have no problem jumping right back into it. It was totally overwhelming, and I just painfully worked on that one kit for a long time. I still have it. It's not finished yet, so I'm going to show it as part of our whip parade. From there, I picked up a small kit to take with me. We did like a big family road trip a few years ago, and just grabbed like a small random kit from Joann's that I found just to kind of reacquaint myself with cross stitch. After finishing that small kit, I started working on the bigger one that I had. I made a lot of great progress on it. It was definitely easier after having reacquainted myself with cross stitch, and I ended up putting that down to start a project that I really wanted to work on. And that's actually the project I was working on when I started having a few videos go viral. I hate that word. I had a few videos go viral on TikTok, and they were actually of that project that I was working on at that time. The artwork was by Alphonse Mucha, who's an incredible artist, and I just love that style of artwork and love how it translates to cross stitch. I just started posting tutorials. I, don't invent any of the things I post about, but I think it's just really fun to share all of the favorite tips and tricks I found have helped me so much as I've gotten back into cross stitching. Technically, I consider myself self-taught, but in all fairness, I've grown up around cross-stitch my whole life. My grandma actually owned a needlepoint store back in the 1980s, and my mom has also been cross-stitching my whole life. So I think just having that exposure to it from really early on really makes a big difference and makes a lot of the terms and techniques much more palatable just because I've grown up seeing it all the time. Prior to cross stitch, I would say crochet had always been more of my passion project, passion crafting. I used to crochet hats and purses and beanies for all of my friends all throughout high school and college. It was just something I loved to do. So there will definitely be a little bit of crochet in the mix here and there, and I've got a few projects to show you. I don't even know what we start with. I think we're just gonna start at the beginning. I'm gonna show you the project I've been working on the longest by far. This is going on 20 years? No, more math. How? So what? 18 years. This is an 18-year long project. I don't even think it's halfway done. You ready to see it? Yeah, it's big. This has gotta weigh at least 10 pounds. At least 10 pounds. IKEA bags make for great project bags for Afghans. I lovingly refer to this as my ugly blanket, and it is indeed a scrap blanket. I've just taken all the bits and pieces, leftover pieces of yarn that I've had throughout the years. I think my favorite thing about this is being able to look back at some of these yarns and remember like what I used that for. Pieces here that were part of a hat that I made for a very dear friend of mine who's no longer with us. So there's just so much sentimental value in here. All of the baby blankets, always got those leftover scraps that go into this blanket. And the memories here are just absolutely amazing. I love this so much. This blanket is also a huge testament to my skill level throughout the years. Border along the sides is absolutely atrocious from when I first started it, because I just, didn't really understand turning and, where to start and stop each new row. Appreciate and admire like the growth and the amount that I've learned and how far I've come throughout the years. And I don't work on it all that often. I would say honestly, every few years or so, I just get burnt out working on everything else, and I just pick this up. So it's kind of like a comfort go-to. It's also huge and thick and very warm. There's only so many months out of the year where it's actually comfortable to work on something like this. Next up, so I mentioned earlier, one of the first cross-stitch projects that I picked up as an adult to try and get back into it was this wonderful kit, but it was really overwhelming. And yeah, I'm still working on it. So this is that. I've got 1.5 pages completed so far. I still am absolutely in love with this and cannot wait to finish it. This is a kit. It's by Thea Governow. I'm not positive if that's how you pronounce her name, so my apologies in advance. I'm actually absolutely in love with all of the cross-stitch patterns that she has. She's one of my favorite designers. Honestly, the only reason why I don't stitch all of her charts is because they do come in kits. I've found as I've kept growing and doing more cross stitch, I really prefer to have a digital pattern and kit up all of the supplies myself. They unfortunately also do not include the DMC thread numbers with these patterns. But what really stresses me out with that is the fear of running out of floss and then having to try and color match without the DMC number available. I totally understand why designers need to do that. It just helps them prevent people stealing their patterns and releasing them illegally. So it makes a ton of sense, but just unfortunately makes it hard for me to stitch more of her patterns because I would love to, because I think that her work is absolutely beautiful. To the best of my knowledge, this is 16 count Aida, and it actually only uses 1 strand of floss, which gives a very beautiful, delicate look to this. Normally I would use 2 strands on 16 count, but this is what the pattern calls for, and it really does leave a really beautiful effect. And in case you were wondering, I keep all of my whips in a pillowcase. It works perfectly for keeping your work nice and protected. I can leave everything on the scroll frame, which is just easier for me and keeps the dust away. So pillowcase for the win. So I've currently got 2 projects that are from Heaven and Earth Designs. This is my very first one that I started. Absolutely in love with this one. It is a whopper at 32 pages, I think, in total. I'm stitching this 1/1 on 28 count using DMC floss. And I'm also using this pre-gridded easy count fabric. I love this stuff. The artist of this one is Dave Bartholet. The artwork is called Fuchsias. It's just stunning. It's beautiful. I can't wait to keep going on this. Both this one and the poppies are both gifts for other people. So I'm really excited to eventually finish these and gift them as intended. This is my second pattern from Heaven and Earth Designs. This is a mini chart, so it's a little bit more palatable in terms of numbers of pages and can be done a little bit quicker than most of their standard size charts, which I love. The artwork is by Leonid Afromov. The chart is Mini Night Cafe. Once again, stitching 1/1 on 28 count even weave fabric. This is a pre-gridded easy count fabric. Absolutely love working on this fabric. You can see on my full coverage pieces, I am indeed using the parking method. And if you do follow me on TikTok, you will recognize this one. It's what I'm actively working on the most. I started this one in January of this year, and I think I'll be able to finish within the year, but we'll see. Don't quote me on that. Next up is the very first pattern I created in conjunction with one of my best friends. He's an incredible artist. His name is Mouse Rock. He does a lot of street art and graffiti style and abstract paintings, and kind of had this idea of like, let's turn some of your art into cross stitch. So I do have this pattern available on my Etsy, but let me go ahead and pop this out of the Q-snaps. I find this very difficult. People rave about Q-snaps. I will agree, this is the best way to get really, really taut fabric. So again, this is a fairly abstract design. It's just a single color design, so it's all black. Obviously, if you were to purchase the pattern, you could use any color thread you want on any kind of fabric you want. This was my first attempt at dyeing fabric. I actually think it turned out really cool. And this is gonna be a face when it's all finished. Really unique piece, I think. I have every intention to have had this finished months ago, and I've just been lagging and getting overwhelmed with tons of projects. Sometimes I feel like I can't force myself to work on something. I just need to find the momentum and like jump into it. So I haven't been forcing myself to work on this, even though, sorry Mouse, I had every intention to finish this months ago and I want to get back to it. It's a really fun stitch too. I have plans to work with more and more artists to turn their artwork into cross-stitch designs and really like build a super unique pattern shop based off of their art, and obviously make sure that they're involved in receiving royalties, royalty payments. And I think it's a really cool way to support a cross-stitch designer, but like also a local artist. So I'm very passionate about this. It's just been so hard finding the time to make it happen on top of everything else. So that's like a big passion project of mine on the side, is to build up this kind of Etsy shop and really unique pattern designs. Right. The last whip, kind of, that I have. I love this one. This was a very unplanned, impromptu project that I started. I had really wanted to do a tutorial on dyeing fabric, and I wanted to try a technique called ice dyeing, which I think turned out super cool. So this is a piece of Aida fabric that I ice dyed at home, and I have that tutorial up on my TikTok if you're interested. And as soon as I finished that fabric, I couldn't just not stitch something on it. So I went out in search of something kind of simple that would really let the fabric shine through. I found a great blackwork design from Soda Stitch Shop Design on Etsy. And it's a really like simple design. There's some blackwork elements involved. I've never done a pattern like that. I typically hate line work. I hate back stitching. So this was kind of a fun challenge for me as well to kind of grow my skills. And it's gonna be some poppy flowers. Clearly I like poppies. This is the second poppy design that I'm working on. Really simple. This is a 10-inch embroidery hoop, and this is 18 count Aida. It's 2 strands for the stitches and 1 strand for all of the black work. So this has become a really, really great travel project. So that's kind of my intent with this. I'm not sure how quickly I'll get it done because I don't really go all that many places. So I guess technically the last cross stitch project I'm working on, though I really haven't started it yet, I have this pair of black overalls. I am going to cross stitch on these. I had done a pair of jean overalls previously, absolutely fell in love with that idea. So I bought some simple black overalls to be able to cross stitch on these. I think I'm gonna do like some strawberries up at the top, though not 100% decided. So not technically a whip, but like future project. And now for the biggest of them all. I don't even think it won't fit. I had done a plastic canvas dollhouse series. It definitely was the most popular thing I've ever done on TikTok. So I had been eyeing another project from Annie's catalog, and they have this massive plastic canvas castle. And I was just thinking how fun it would be to do that, but kind of make it look like Hogwarts. So that has been the inspiration for this. This first room took me probably about 2 months to complete. complete. There's gonna be 6 rooms total when it comes to Hogwarts. I'm absolutely in love with this project. I have no intention to stop working on it. After completing the first room, I wanted to take a small break. That break has extended to be a bit longer than anticipated, but I promise I will keep working on this. So I guess that's a wrap on episode number 1. If you want to hear more about any of these projects, please drop some comments below. If you could also like and subscribe, that would mean so much to me. And yes, I feel ridiculous asking that. I almost forgot. Hold on. I've been speaking with the Annies and they actually offered to send me a whole box for one of their Kit Clubs, a monthly subscription box. And what they do is they send you each month, whoops, we're losing yarn. Each month they send you the supplies to either make a project that takes a full year or like little individual projects over the course of a year. So I actually got this Plumberry Sampler Afghan. It's this beautiful striped blanket, and each month you create 3 stripes. So normally you would get 1 small box each month to work on the 3 stripes. They sent me everything as once. I am gonna be doing a full TikTok series. It will be like a once a month video series where I add the 3 stripes of the month. You know, I'm an experienced crocheter, but don't have a lot of experience actually reading patterns. Figured this was gonna be a great learning experience for me. It like improved my crochet skills immensely. I love the way that this looks. I intend, I think, to start this probably in the fall, maybe September or October. Yeah, so thank you, Annies, for sending me this. This is like amazing. This is a whole box full of yarn right here. Any videos that you want to see, things you want me to talk more about, I am happy to do it. I've got a list going of some different like Flosstube video ideas, but really wanted to just get you all acquainted with the various things I'm working on at the moment. And yeah, see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe.